great guest joining us today here on our big program. Jason Jones joins us, or as you know him from social media, the Space Cowboy Jason Jones. And
what's up, guys?
Tell me and John a little bit about yourself.
Oh my gosh! Like you said, I'm Jason Jones. I've been a professional wrestler for about 23 years. I was born and raised in Harrison, Arkansas. I own a boxing and wrestling gym there in Harrison, and I've been an independent wrestler for 23 years, and trying to make a living during all this craziness right now.
That's awesome. So, what got you started in pro wrestling?
You know, my love of pro wrestling goes back to when I was a kid. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and my dad was never a big sports fan. Never watched football, never watched baseball, but he loved his NWA Saturday nights at 5:05. So that's how my mom was like, hey, just go up there and, he'll be able to play with you after wrestling's over at 7 o'clock. So I remember just absolutely hating it because all I wanted to do all weekend when my dad got home was go outside and, do this or do that or play Frisbee or do this. And she was like, you will as soon as wrestling's over. Honey, just go jump up there in his lap and watch him. Kind of getting, bonding with him and watching it and getting entertained. And then we used to go to a lot of live matches. And my dad really enjoyed watching the crowd more than he did the wrestling, I think. And I found that really cool that somebody could do something and get a reaction from thousands of people or hundreds of people and fell in love with it. So here I am, later, just but no, that was my introduction to pro wrestling, and that's probably why I have such a big love for it. It's such a big part of my childhood.
That's fantastic. So who did your initial training when you got into wrestling?
Some of my initial training, I started off working for a promoter who, there's a lot of shady promoters out there, and a promoter came through my hometown right when I graduated, and he claimed to be the original Dr. X. Well, I knew that no way, shape, form, or fashion that was it, but at the time I was working at the radio station back when I was still right in high school, and so I was kind of doing an apprenticeship with them, and they were like, oh my gosh, you need to meet Jason, he's obsessed with it. He's like, well, hey, do you want to come ring announce? And I was like, oh my God, yes. So when I would get there before the events, he would let a couple of the guys show me a few bumps, and this and that. And then I started wanting to do more, but would go and work out with some of the guys in different places. Would drive over to Oklahoma and work out with them on the weekends. But as of recent, I credit most of my polishing and everything to Sonny Myers in St. Joseph, Missouri, because I got a chance to work with him on a lot of shows when I was younger, and he really put it into an old school. He gave me more of a hands-on training, not just in the ring, but behind the scenes, because he was a promoter as well. And he trained a lot of the guys that are still around today, and he trained some of the greats. He helped train Butch Reed, he helped train Curtis Hughes, a bunch of guys that came through Sonny's All-Star Wrestling back in the day. Wow.
That's pretty damn cool. So tell us about some of the different places you've worked in.
Man, I've wrestled in every hen house and outhouse and corn dog fair and big arena that you can name in probably a 10, 12 state radius. Wrestle a lot. When I started off, a lot of Arkansas, a lot of Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and I've wrestled as far away as, Florida, the South. You go over to the Carolinas, Tennessee. I've done it all, but I try to keep in that wheelhouse right now of I'll go anywhere they pay me, don't get me wrong. But Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, those are my big stomping grounds.
That's pretty cool. Now, you have a Facebook page. By the way, go to facebook.com, search Space Cowboy Jason Jones. He's got all of his information up there. On your banner, you say that as seen on NBC, Fox, ABC, ESPN, and CBS. Tell us about these experiences.
Those are just, I've been on so many TV programs, and we had a syndicated show for the longest time with Mid-States Wrestling in the early 2000s up until about 2012. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. And then I was cast as an announcer and a TV, like a wrestling interviewer for TCW. And TCW was on, gosh, at one point it was like 53 million homes, and it was worldwide. What's the big network that was out of Canada? That was a big advocate. We were one of their top shows on them. But then we were on ESPN. We were on all these, like we were in Uganda. I'm like, good Lord, man, who's watching in Uganda? But obviously somebody was. We were on the Pursuit Network. We were on, a lot of the local shows that we did. We had a lot of primetime spots on NBC that were going to be on Saturday nights. So that was pretty cool. And that was my first experience of having like a huge TV show. Like, I would get recognized here and there from wrestling on cards and from doing this. But the first time I was in the middle of Mississippi and stopped to get gas, and they were like, oh my God, you're Jason Jones from TCW. And I'm like, I've never been to BFE, Mississippi, wherever we're at. But that dude watched me every night at Saturday night at 7 o'clock on his NBC network. And I'm like, that was really cool. So, yeah, just one of those publicity, those banners that's got.
That's right.
He's been here, he's done this,
That's awesome. So John, do you have any questions for Jason while we've got him here?
Oh, I got a ton of them because I've never worked a show with him, but I know tons of guys that have. I never realized that was you on Traditional Championship Wrestling. I used to watch that off YouTube. They would put them on there about 2 weeks after. Like that, I never associated that with you like that. But every guy that I've ever known that, yeah, a little bit more now.
Better?
Yeah, I love that show. It was great.
I appreciate it. I'm trying not to, be big time with sunglasses, but we're actually driving, and that sunlight is killing me.
Oh God,
right
I can imagine.
I can imagine.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
but
no. So you watch TCW? That's awesome.
Yeah, they used to put it on YouTube 2 weeks after it aired on TV. So you would get it then, and that's how I knew about Tim Storm and Matt Riviera.
Absolutely.
And I was the huge fan of the Golden Boy Greg Anthony. I loved him on that show. He looked a little bit different. Man, he was one of the best wrestlers I'd seen, and he had some of the best promos. If you'd never seen him, Jiggy, you need to check him out.
You know what's funny about the Golden Boy Greg Anthony is I came within probably a hair of if we would have actually done the move to Dyersburg, Tennessee, I was going to be working for him doing television and production. So I just think that is so awesome that you know who this is.
Yeah, Greg's a cool dude. I've worked with Greg for many years. I go over and wrestle for him quite a bit. He comes over and wrestles for us. He's been involved. I know you guys you're in Missouri, is that correct?
No, Kansas.
Kansas.
You're in Kansas. Well,
yeah, Wichita area.
Greg comes over and does the closest really Greg gets to you guys. He comes and works our Mid-States Wrestling shows in Springfield, Missouri. But Greg's a great talent, and he was a part of that TCW alumni. I'm proud to be a part of that. But yeah, he's a great talent, tremendous talent.
Well, I knew a lot of the guys that worked with you when you worked for Harley at WLW. I'd worked shows with them in Kansas, but I also knew a bunch of the guys from Mid-States, like Big Hoss. I managed him here on some shows. Brandon Osborne, a bunch of those guys. Tommy Snow just can't talk enough about you nicely like that. A lot of them used to love. I was wondering, I didn't know if it was you that ran Mid-States. For some reason, I thought that was. Was that your promotion, or is that somebody else's?
Yes, sir. I'm actually on a board of a couple other guys, but I do help. I do wear the promoting hat when I have to.
Okay.
And I've just always been under the aspect of, the more butts in the seats, the more money the company makes, the more money the guys make. In turn, the more, the better, we all scratch each other's backs. And I even tell promoters this: if you book me and I'm on your card, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to handle my social media. I'm going to make sure that people come to watch me and make you money, because I want them to book me time and time again and here and there. And I still believe that to be a draw in professional wrestling these days, you either have to have a name, or you have to be able to connect with your audience. And we're all on a learning curve right now because of social media. So there's times that I'll go and wrestle a place. I'll go and wrestle in Somerset, Kentucky, and then the next day you got 5 or 6 friend requests from there, and that's cool. So the next time you do come back from that promoter, I always hype up the events and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
Post a couple of interviews about it. So hopefully you can grow, and it's not like TV back in the day. The problem where I found that when we ran television, whereas in the day that was your big catalyst to help sell events, the live events,
right.
Put your preliminary matches on there and hopefully build to the bigger ones. But now we live in that instant gratification day where you can pull out YouTube on your phone, like you said, and boom, everything's at the tip of your fingers. So what I found is that the television show actually kind of hurt our live events to where we were at in that small area where we would run, because I would run into people all the time. I would be at Walmart with my kids or something, and they would come up to, oh my gosh, we watch you all the time on TV, and we just absolutely love, and I'm like, well, hey, man, you ought to come out to the matches next Saturday night. We're going to have a big thing. Well, we'll just have to wait and watch it on TV when it's free. And then you would say, well, that match isn't going on TV. That's, a special match. Well, we'll just, it's free on TV. And, with this day and age, TV is kind of it's hard to keep sponsors, local sponsors especially. So it became a full-time job producing TV. And as soon as we stopped running our live events, we realized that our indoor events, our attendance went up. So it was kind of a double-edged sword for us. We loved it. We loved the publicity. We loved the outreach that it did have. But when it comes down to it, the guys got paid off the live events. So when we stopped running our television show, our houses went up.
Okay.
So it was a weird thing.
Well, without me trying to sound like a suck up here, Jason here kind of has the same reputation like Tommy Snow does. I haven't heard anybody ever say anything that I know of bad about Jason. It's kind of like nobody says anything bad about Tommy. Whatever. He's a sexy beast, but let's not get carried away, okay? Yeah, it's his birthday today.
You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, I already wished him birthday and everything.
Attaboy.
Made fun of him on about 4 or 5 different posts from other people.
I love Tommy.
Oh, he's great. He sit there, they used to crap on him up here so bad, and then me and him had a match, and like a little thing Dan Adams put on some in Eureka, Kansas. We went out there, and we did a 2 out of 3 falls match, took 1 bump apiece, and the crowd freaking loved us. And I begged Dan to bring him up to Hoisington where we did our big shows, and then Tommy just took off after that. It wasn't like I really did anything, but I recognized something that nobody else would give him the chance, and he started to get booked everywhere, down in Texas, Illinois, everything. And
sure, Tommy's a great talent, and I wrestled his retirement event last year. It was a year before last, December, yeah. Tommy's such a great guy, and like you said, the only people, I've never heard anybody say anything negative about Tommy. Tommy is an entertaining guy. We tagged together. One time I told the story in his retirement deal. We had a little get-together with the boys after it was over, and I told that, I just wrestled a match, and it was an impromptu. His tag team partner didn't show up, and I was like, I'll go out there and tag with Tommy because I know I'm not going to have to do that much. And literally, he's like, I got this, brother. And I was just standing on the apron, sucking wind, and he's out there, barking like a dog and biting guys on the ass.
Yep.
He's just an entertaining dude. But
like that, yep.
Definitely going to be one of my brothers for life.
Yeah, I love the dude. Every time he comes into Wichita, he makes sure he gets a hold of me, because the one time he did, and I made him feel guilty for about 2 months, so.
We have got a tremendous guest with us today. The Space Cowboy Jason Jones is with us, and Jason, you're on the road, headed to a wrestling event at an undisclosed location. What do you make of these empty arena things that they're doing on AEW and WWE? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it we're just doing what we can? Where do you come down on it?
It's trying to make, I don't know, it's trying to make lemonades out of lemons. I get it. I understand they still have a deadline and a TV show to produce, so they're doing what they have to do. As far as the awkwardness and the pain that it brings me to watch that, it is so bad to watch them try to go through and carry on a storyline out there. And the thing that is most cringeworthy to me is that they're still doing their entrances like they would if there's a crowd of 1,000 people there. That to me is so, it's just, oh my gosh, it's hard to watch. Viral Pro, the place I'm going to today, we do something similar. We have a closed set just for the talent. However, because they played off the spin of Viral Pro and this being an epidemic and everything, and even their tagline is infecting the world, one match at a time. So they have people in hazmat suits and green masks, and they observe anywhere from 3 to 4 what they call germs to watch the matches, and they're actually standing at ringside right up against the ring, so they still get to boo the bad guys and cheer the good guys. So at least you have 3 or 4 people to play off of. And trust me, I've worked a lot of independent shows where that's a sellout. 3 people I'd love to have. There's more people in the locker room than there was in the arena, but at least having those 3 or 4 germs to play off of makes a world of difference. And then they add the live commentary to it, and they produce the event. So it is very awkward to watch on television. It's more awkward to work in front of no crowd, because a true professional knows how to feed off that crowd.
Yes.
And feel that reaction. If I'm a heel and they're not booing me, I feel like I got to do something down and dirty. I'm going to pull my wrist tape off and start choking this dude, because I've got to make them feel some kind of, I've got to get a reaction out of them. And the bigger, dirtier heel that I am, the more they love that guy. So it makes his job easier. So without that crowd to feed off of, it's absolutely hard.
We have got a fantastic guest with us today. The Space Cowboy Jason Jones joins us here on our broadcast. And so Jason, with Viral Pro, I know that we had Niles on a couple weeks ago when he was first getting this idea put together, and he was telling us about the fact that he would just, he's going to basically just call up a group of guys, have them jump in a car, and have them come there. So is that basically what's going on? Did you load up the car with a bunch of people, and you guys are going down there? Or?
That's there's talent coming from 6 different states to do Viral Pro. The website just got updated. It's viralwrestling.com. If anybody wants to know, check out viralwrestling.com. And it's as low as like $7 an episode, or you can buy like a pass where you can watch like a month. But yeah, we're putting together matches, and this weekend will be the introduction of, they're having a tournament for their first champion. So even with 8 guys there or 12 guys, they can rotate the guys in and out. They're doing a taping and inside the closed set. So it's basically what you have, but we've got a really top-notch production team on it. The camera work is superior. It's got top-notch commentary, graphics, everything like you would hope to watch a professionally produced program. It's not just a camcorder set up and a bunch of beating the living piss out of each other in a ring or something like that. So I really encourage, there's some hype videos on that page and on YouTube. Check them out, and you'll be totally impressed with the quality that we're putting out there.
Yeah, I watched the Miranda Gordy one that they had for free on YouTube, and I was pretty impressed with it. How tall is she? She looks like she's real tall, or is she not?
Gordy's about the same height as me, so probably about 5'10".
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought she was a tall girl, because she's taller than Dexter Hardaway. So
Dexter's 4'2" anyway.
Oh, I know. I love teasing the poor dude when he had his porn stash going and stuff. I loved it when they showed her shaving that off on YouTube.
Yeah,
I seen it. I was like, wow.
I've known Dexter for over 20 years, and Dexter is the annoying little brother that everybody has. But even though he's older than most of us, he's still like that annoying little brother, But he embraces that and runs with it.
Oh, he's great
Dexter's
with
a
it.
great talent though too.
I was teasing him because in the early 90s when he first started out, he used to come up here to Wichita. We had a TV on a little low power station, and Dexter was about the same height, had a shaved head, was a pudgy little sucker. And Dan Adams called him the teen sensation, said he was 16 years old. So last time I seen Dexter was at one of those shows in Hutch. And I go, look, it's teen sensation. He's like, oh my God, I thought you'd forgot that crap. He's like,
oh yeah, Dexter's a cool dude. He's an underrated talent. So you live in Wichita, is that correct?
Right. I catch a lot of.
Recently done some shows there with World Class at the Cotillion.
Oh, with Gary Bostic.
Famous Cotillion. Yes, sir. I've done the last 3 or 4 of those shows there. That's a beautiful venue. One of my favorite in like the Kansas area, man. It's such a beautiful arena, and it's so much history there, but it filmed so beautifully. He did a couple tapings there. I really like that arena. I like Wichita. Wichita's a pretty cool little town.
We did a show there way back in the 90s, and I was the manager. I forget who it was I was managing, but I got my ass kicked by Dick Murdoch. So, but I mean, really got my ass. Oh, it was fun. I mean, I walked to the back. He's like, "How you doing, kid?" I go, "Hurt like hell, sir." But I go, "I appreciate it." And he started laughing. He goes, "Okay." He goes, "I think you'll be all right." Kicking my ass because I mean, well, I told him, I go, "Listen," I go, "if you do something," I go, "I know you're going to do it anyway." I go, "But to make sure I sell right for you," I go, "just go ahead and drill my ass." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "I'd rather it look really, really good than to make you look bad at all." And he's like, "Okay."
I tell all my students that, you know, when it's show mode, I'd rather you paintbrush me across the head and hit me as hard as you can than to pull a punch and the crowd see you missed me that much. And I said, because, you know, during that match, my adrenaline and everything's going. I'm going to feel it the next day, but during the height of that match, I'd rather you just lay it in on me. Not saying that that's the style I want him to work, but if you're going to doubt pulling a punch on me, don't pull it. Just hit me with it.
Yes.
I'll have no choice but to sell it. But the last thing that you want to, you know, is see somebody in the front row going, "Oh, man, that's phony. He missed him by this much." And good Lord, because I tell you what, if you do that to me, I'm going to cover, and it's going to be a couple forearms, and they're going to be pretty stiff to the face if I have to do that.
Yeah, did you ever work any shows with Tom Jones?
You know, I've just later on, right before, I'd say about 2007, 2008, I worked a couple over there in Oklahoma City at that Midwest City at that Golden Goose flea market that everybody
yeah, I remember that.
But he happened to be at a couple of those, and he's such a great guy, and just getting to sit around with him, and I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of guys that he was instrumental in their career, and he's a super nice guy, and Mr. Ebony, dude, he's the man.
Well, the story you're talking about, Tom Jones came up here to Wichita for some shows, and I was the referee in the match, and some dude just did the weakest, you know, terriblest looking forearm, and Tom just sit there, took him, slung him around in the corner, chopped him about twice, and you could just see dude go pale white, like, I mean, all the air went out of him like that. Tom looks at me, "That's how you hit somebody in the chest." They started laughing. It's like, "Don't laugh anymore." Like, and I was like, "Okay." It was just hilarious. I mean, it was just like that. Tom was like, "Okay," like,
and that's the way those guys were with that old school mentality, and that's the way I try to train my students, because there's not a lot of that left. But you know, it's still I still want those people to believe that it's real to them when they're sitting out in that crowd. And you know, if you with me, buddy, you're going to have one coming back. You mentioned earlier Big Hoss. Hoss is up here at the Viral Pro tapings, and that's actually for the Viral Pro tapings. He's actually my cousin. So you know, I get in some trouble, and I call my big cousin, Dodge City, Kansas. Big Hoss makes his arrival. So we've been doing some tag team matches and stuff on Viral Pro. So we have kind of a stable going right now. But I've known Haas for right at 20 years. And, dude, even now, I mean, he's That dude is every bit of 500 pounds, and he can still go, man. He'll still climb the
Jesus.
ropes. And
Go do the moonsault.
one of the scariest I ever was in the ring was underneath him when he went to do his moonsault from the top. And I made sure that I overcompensated and rolled way far enough away because I didn't want to be underneath that. So.
Oh yeah, he
See
said
that
there.
finger right there?
Jesus.
Oh God.
That finger straight right there. This one has got a bump right there, and that's from Haas stepping on my finger in a match.
Holy
and I wasn't
smokes.
even fighting him. I was actually managing him probably 14 years ago. I was in his corner in St. Joseph, Missouri, and he stepped on my finger, and it broke. And so I show all my guys that all the time. I'm like, listen, keep your hands closed when you go to get up and down. You know, it's kind of an old thing. You close your fist when you get up and down. But that was from Big Hoss at the time. He was probably 450 pounds. He stepped on that thing and crushed it. And now I've got this messed up finger for the rest of my life.
Well, Jason, I appreciate you making time for us today. I know you're headed down the road, and we've got our next guest going to be on here in just a few, but I appreciate you spending some time with me and John tonight. This was fun. We'll have to do this again, sir.
Man, thank you guys for having me on. If you guys want to check out or plug my